The film begins with a woman named Romy, who is the CEO of a major robotics company. Romy is the most powerful person in the entire company, and she never jokes around at work. This makes her a role model and inspiration for every female employee there, and everyone hopes to become like her one day. Romy is married to a theater director named Jacob, and she has a teenage daughter named Isabel and a younger daughter named Nora. It is clear that Romy lives a happy married life with her husband and daughters, and she and Jacob always do everything they can to make their daughters happy. However, Romy struggles with an inner conflict that often leaves her distracted and unfocused, because she is dissatisfied with the physical relationship between her and her husband. One day, while Romy is on her way to work, she suddenly stops when she sees a dog violently attacking someone. Then the dog runs toward her at full speed, but suddenly someone calls out to it, and the dog backs away. The dog returns to the young man who called it, and Romy stands there amazed by what he did, because he is able to control the dog, calm it down, and make it obey him. Romy notices how happy the dog looks at that moment. She keeps staring at the young man and the way he treats the dog until she finally snaps out of it and continues to work. There, she meets her assistant Esme, who introduces her to a group of new interns at the company. The surprise is that the young man Romy saw in the street is one of those interns. It is obvious that he is extremely confident and unusually bold, to the point that he is the only one who introduces himself personally, telling her that his name is Samuel. He then asks a bold question about the company's work, wondering whether robots will truly have a major benefit for humanity, or if it is all just media talk because she is the CEO and wants to increase sales. Romy stays silent and does not answer his question, which makes Esme nervous, so she quickly ends the meeting and apologizes to Romy for the young man crossing the line. But Romy calms her down and assures her she is not bothered. At the same time, it becomes clear that Romy is impressed by Samuel and his boldness, to the point that she keeps watching him and follows him to the cafeteria, asking him to make her a coffee. When he hands her the coffee, she asks him how he managed to control the dog from the street. He tells her that it was a female dog, not a male one, and that he knows how to deal well with any female, whether animal or human. Later, Romy returns home with her husband Jacob. As soon as Jacob gets close to her, she covers herself with the blanket, which confuses him. He becomes even more surprised when she asks him to be intimate with her in a different way. But Jacob refuses and tells her that he does not like that type of relationship because he does not want to control her as if she were his servant, since that would make him feel like a bad person. Romy becomes upset but remains silent. The next day, the company holds a party. Esme stands with Romy and tells her that the board of directors has included her among the supervisors responsible for training the new interns because they want the interns to benefit from her experience. But Romy is not paying attention because she is completely focused on Samuel and the way he behaves with his co-workers, especially the girls. Later, Romy steps onto the balcony for some fresh air, and Samuel approaches her, telling her that he chose her to supervise his training at the company. Romy is surprised by his attitude and tries to explain that she will discuss the supervision decision with the board because she does not have enough time. But Samuel ignores what she says and tells her that he will wait for her there before walking away. It becomes very obvious that Romy likes his behavior because she needs someone to control her. In addition, her looks clearly show that she wants to get closer to him. After the party, Jacob talks to Romy about his new play, but she is completely distracted and not focused on him at all. This upsets Jacob, and he asks her if he even matters in her life. Romy then realizes what she is doing and apologizes for not paying attention to him. The following day, Romy goes to work, but when she enters the elevator, she finds Samuel riding with her. He asks her not to forget about their meeting later that day. She tells him that she will check her schedule first and then decide, but he interrupts her and tells her that her hairstyle looks beautiful and suits her very well. Romy becomes uncomfortable and cannot respond, so she leaves the elevator. Afterward, however, she keeps watching him from her office while he talks to Esme. At the end of the day, Romy goes to Samuel to begin their first session in the training program. Samuel asks her questions about her professional career, and although his questions are outside the scope of the training program, she answers them and tells him about what happened after she graduated from college. She also tells him about the first company she applied to and how hard she worked during the interviews until she was finally accepted. Samuel listens to her very attentively and keeps asking more questions while she answers them. Suddenly, Samuel tells her that her personality is not actually strong, unlike the image she shows to all the employees in the company. He says that she needs someone to control her and tell her what to do and what not to do, because she is tired of always being the one in control of everyone around her. Romy is shocked and deeply affected by his words because he is actually telling the truth. When Samuel notices that she has gone silent and is not responding, he apologizes for what he said. But Romy ends the meeting and gets up to leave. Before she exits, Samuel calls out to her and stops her. With complete boldness, he moves closer to her, and she does not stop him. She responds to him, but then suddenly comes back to her senses and leaves. The next day, Romy is outside the company after finishing work when Samuel comes after her and asks about the date of their second meeting. Romy tries to avoid him and tells him that she has an important appointment, promising that she will let him know later. But Samuel ignores what she says, stands in front of her, and tells her that she is not the one who decides what will happen. He says that she will meet him once every week according to the training program schedule and that he will not allow her to cancel or change the appointment. Romy lowers her voice so they do not attract attention, especially since they are standing in front of the company, then she leaves. Her emotions are extremely conflicted, because this is the first time anyone has spoken to her in such a commanding tone and imposed rules on her. Yet it becomes obvious that Romy is pleased by Samuel's behavior. A few days later, Romy is at the theater with her husband Jacob, attending the opening night of his play. But Jacob is surprised when she tells him she has to leave, saying that this is the day he needs her support the most. Romy ignores his words, apologizes, and leaves. That same day is the date of her meeting with Samuel. When Romy arrives at the company and enters her office, she finds a note on her desk. The note is from Samuel, telling her that he changed the meeting location and that he will wait for her at the hotel where he is staying. It becomes very clear that Romy cannot resist her desire to get closer to Samuel, so she goes to the hotel at the time he chose. There, Romy talks to Samuel and tells him that she does not like his behavior toward her. She says that she only agreed to come so she could put him in his place. Samuel does not answer her at all. Instead, he suddenly moves toward her aggressively and tries to force himself on her. Romy resists him for a while, but eventually gives in, and what is happening excites her. However, Samuel refuses to satisfy her desires immediately. Instead, he takes her to the far side of the room and makes her face the wall, as if he is punishing her like a school student. Samuel tells her that he understands her personality very well and knows that she wants to find someone who can control her. Romy admits that this is true and tells him that this is the first time in many years she has felt that the desire inside her is real. After that, Romy breaks down in tears, and Samuel hugs her as if she were a little child. In the end, Romy gives in to her desire to be dominated, moves closer to Samuel, and begins an affair with him. After this day, the two begin meeting alone together frequently, and they grow closer to each other. Romy becomes very impressed that Samuel is the one controlling the relationship, and that she does everything he asks of her without any objection. Until one day, Romy is returning home from work and sees Samuel sitting and talking with her husband and daughters. When she walks in, Samuel tells her that she forgot her laptop at the company and he brought it to her. It becomes clear that Jacob and the girls are impressed by Samuel's personality, especially after they learn that he is a hardworking person who works at a bar until he finishes his training at the company and gets officially hired. But afterward, Romy speaks with Samuel alone in the car and warns him not to come to her house again. She tells him that her husband and children are the most important thing in her life, and therefore she is not willing to lose them for any reason. She also tells him that she will not meet him alone again, because what happened between them was a huge mistake she committed in a moment of weakness. Samuel becomes angry at her words, leaves her, and gets out of the car. Days pass, and Samuel completely ignores Romy and does not speak to her while they are at the company, to the point that whenever she enters any office he is in, he leaves and walks out. So Romy takes advantage of Samuel standing on the rooftop smoking and goes to speak with him. But Samuel shocks her and tells her that he does not want her to supervise his training anymore, and he also tells her that he will submit a request to train under someone else's supervision. Romy becomes upset and tells him that if he does that, the company will conduct an investigation and they may discover the nature of the relationship between them, and as a result she will lose her job at the company. Samuel tells her that none of this matters to him, then leaves her and walks away. At night, Romy goes to the bar where Samuel works to talk to him, but she is surprised when he sends a co-worker to her and tells her that he does not want to speak with her, and that it would be better for her to leave the place. Romy feels humiliated and leaves the bar extremely sad. When the time comes for Samuel's training program interview, Romy tries to make him change his mind and explains to him that she is 20 years older than him, and that if she continues her relationship with him it may harm him and affect his life. Samuel tells her that his life was going well during his relationship with her, unlike hers because she has been constantly tense ever since she distanced herself from him. He tells her that the best thing for both of them is to get back together and continue their relationship, but he points out that this time he will set the rules that she must follow, and she will absolutely not be allowed to object to anything he does. He threatens her that if she insists on staying away from him, he will inform the company about their relationship and expose her. At this point, Romy realizes the magnitude of the mistake she made when she allowed herself to enter into a relationship with Samuel, because she is now threatened with losing her job and her family, and she finds herself with no other solution except to agree to Samuel's words and continue her relationship with him. On her daughter's birthday, Romy is shocked when she sees Samuel arriving at the party with Esme. After they enter, Romy argues with Samuel because he was not invited to the party. The argument escalates between them until Romy throws a glass onto the floor and breaks it. Then Esme comes and asks her if she is okay, and Romy replies that she accidentally dropped the glass, nothing more. But the next day, Romy is surprised when Esme comes to visit her at home and tells her that she knows about her relationship with Samuel. Romy becomes upset and cannot respond to her. Esme continues speaking and tells her that she must cut off her relationship with Samuel immediately in order to preserve her image in front of everyone and remain the distinguished manager whom everyone wishes to be like. Romy falls into a state of despair and does not know what to do, so she decides to confess everything she did to Jacob and bear the consequences of her mistake no matter what they may be. Romy goes to speak with Jacob and tells him that for a long time she has not been satisfied with their marital relationship, and that this dissatisfaction caused her to weaken and cheat on him with another man. But she lies to him and says that it only happened once, and that she does not even know the man she cheated with, because she met him by coincidence at the bar and never saw him again afterward. Jacob becomes angry and tells her that betrayal has no justification, and that it would have been better for her to ask for a divorce and leave him peacefully. He points out to her that she has destroyed her daughter's lives because she will make them live away from her, since he will not allow her to remain in his life after what she did. He asks her to leave the house immediately and never return again. Indeed, Romy leaves the house and goes to their other home in the countryside, but she is surprised to find Samuel there, because they had always been used to meeting at that house. Romy then tells him what happened between her and Jacob. During their conversation, Jacob walks in on them. At that moment, Jacob realizes that Samuel is the person Romy had been cheating on him with, and that the relationship between them has been ongoing for a long time and was not just a one-time incident as she had led him to believe. All of this causes Jacob to lose his temper, attack Samuel, and hit him. But Romy intervenes and separates them. Afterward, Jacob becomes extremely exhausted from grief, so Romy approaches him to check on him, but he moves away from her. Samuel then approaches him, gives him water to drink, and stays beside him until his condition improves. Then he apologizes to him for what he did and leaves the house. As the days pass, we find Romy sitting alone at home and not going to work because she is sad about what happened and unable to forgive herself. One day, her daughter Isabel comes to her and asks her to return home, telling her that Jacob is in bad condition, not eating or speaking to anyone, in addition to sleeping at the theater and refusing to return home. Romy goes to the theater, apologizes to him, and asks him to forgive her, telling him that she cannot live without him. Jacob forgives her, and they return to continue their lives normally. When Romy returns to work, one of the employees comes into her office and tells her that he learned Samuel left the company and traveled to Japan to work there, and through his words he makes her understand that he knows there was a relationship between her and Samuel. Romy tells him that if he thinks he is threatening her because of her relationship with Samuel, then he is mistaken. She tells him that she does not care whether he or anyone else knows that she had a relationship with Samuel, even if the matter reaches the company's board of directors. She ends the conversation and throws him out of the office. And the movie ends. If you liked the movie, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell so you can receive everything new that we present.